Hello, and welcome to another AAIS webinar. Today, we'll be covering everything you need to know about the new COP quoting platform from BizDynamics, a cloud business unit of Value Momentum. I'm John Caduce, VP of Products here at AAIS. AAIS members will be interested to learn more about alternative solutions for the AAIS underwriting platform that we will be sunsetting effective January 1st, 2023. The AAIS underwriting platform was originally developed to support the COP and inland marine products in market at a time when availability of vendor solutions for rating products was very limited. Since then, AAIS partner BizDynamics has developed COP and inland marine guide solutions that offer broader functionality in close collaboration with our team. Today's demo will walk you through BizDynamics cloud native solution alternative for COP and inland marine quoting. Now, on to today's featured presentation. I'm happy to introduce Bob Reidinger, VP of Sales and Business Development at BizDynamics. He handles account relationships for Value Momentum's BizDynamics group and previously held senior roles at National P&C Carriers, Accenture, and Capgemini. Bob, I now hand over the reins to you and your team.
Thank you, John. We're delighted to be here today and review with everyone in the audience how we will support COP and inland marine guide moving into 2023. And we're delighted to work with AAIS as they sunset the underwriting platform. Before we get started with the details of what we're doing in COP and inland marine, maybe a quick review of who Value Momentum is, and specifically who is the BizDynamics group within Value Momentum. Okay. A little bit about Value Momentum. We've been around for over 20 years. And we've worked with over 100 clients, both insurers and MGAs. And we're providing a host of technology solutions, and specifically with the BizDynamics group, we're focusing on cloud-based applications, including the cloud-based rating and quoting, as well as business intelligence and a few other solutions. We appreciate obviously the partnership with AAIS. We've worked very closely with them over the last quite a few months, and we're happy to be here today to show you the results of what we worked with, particularly around the COP product to begin with. And so with this, I'm going to introduce you to Anand Rajaraman, who leads our charge in rating, quoting, and business intelligence. And he'll take it from here. Anand?
Thank you, Bob. So what we'll do is we will log into our AAIS quote application to give an overview of its capabilities and features. Okay. So as soon as we provide a username and password, our authentication service is called in to validate user credentials. We support single factor as well as multiple factor authentication. Depending upon your corporate authentication standards, we could add an additional layer of authentication by generating a passcode and delivering the same to your email or mobile device. You could then key in that passcode in the quote application, and once that passcode matches, the system will let the users in. In this webinar, we have enabled single factor authentication in the interest of time. As soon as the user logs into the application, they are taken to the main page of the AAIS quote application. We call this the dashboard page. The dashboard lists all of the quote transactional activity in reverse chronological order, so that the last updated quotes can be the ones that can be first accessed. For every transaction, you could also get an at-a-glance view of key information about that transaction, like line of business, domicile state, account, the quote term, premium, status. We have three status, as you can see in this example. Rated is when the transaction has been rated. Quoted is when a quote letter has actually been created, and in progress is when the data capture is actually in progress. Users can create new quotes from scratch or select an existing quote to review or update them from this page. Users can also search and retrieve existing quotes by keying in a customer name or quote ID by leveraging the search functionality to the right of your screens. In the interest of time, we will select an existing quote to walk you through the steps involved in developing that quote. So as soon as the user selects an existing quote or clicks on create new quote in the previous screen, they're taken through a 4-step process to develop a quote. The steps themselves are listed above so that users exactly know which step they are at and how many more steps exist in the lead up to developing premiums. Currently, the user is in the first step, which is to capture account information. There are 3 more steps prior to calculating premiums, which is capture of risk information, capturing coverage information, and in this example of COP, it's assignment of deficiency points. The account screen, as you can see, is organized into multiple panels so that users can not only get an overview of the type of information they need to capture. These panels also provide for an easy way for users to locate pertinent information later on when they retrieve a quote. The screen has 6 different types of information that needs to be captured. Who is the insured? Who is the key contact? What is the term of insurance? What is the line of business under which coverage is requested? And for that line of business, what coverages are requested? The customer's schedule of locations. For reasons of convenience and to develop quotes quickly, these locations can be created in line within the application itself by clicking on the add location button, or they can be exported into the application from an Excel file. So if you click on export and then export that, if you click on import and then import a schedule of locations, you can see that these locations are automatically created in the system. So just to add some additional context, if we go back to the product information right above, today it's only COP that is selectable from this section. However, as we roll out new lines of business, inland marine, for example, under a single transaction, you will be able to fulfill your customers' broader insurance requirements through a multi-line quoting journey. And one more thing to point out here is there are a number of fields that are marked in red asterisks. These are mandatory fields for which input is required. To develop quotes quickly, users can just focus on these mandatory pieces of information. And after that particular quote is developed, they can always come back to supply additional pieces of information on a need basis. Whenever mandatory information is not provided, appropriate error message is going to be displayed prominently adjacent to the field for which input is solicited, so that users don't have to locate that field that has errors in them. And let's move on to the risk page by clicking on proceed. So once user inputs the account information, they are taken to the risk screen. The risk screen is contextual. Remember that in the prior screen, we chose COP as the line of business, and we chose several COP coverages like building, equipment breakdown, so on and so forth. In this screen, appropriate information needed to classify the risk is sought based on the line of business and the coverages chosen in the prior screen. And much like in the account screen, information in the risk screen is organized into panels to facilitate efficient data capture. and provide instant access to risk information as and when a quote is actually getting reviewed. The way we organize the panels in the screen is by the type of COP coverage. There is a panel to capture risk classification data for property coverages, both building as well as business personal property. We call them property coverage. There is a panel to capture loss information for property losses for reasons of convenience again, and to develop quotes quickly. Loss history can be imported from an Excel file into the application, or they can be captured inline from within the application as well. So if you click on, I'm going to expand on the drop down, and you can see that we could import, export the same way as we created these locations in the previous screen. Then there is a panel to capture information, risk information relating to time element coverages. We call that the income coverage section. Then there are separate panels for capturing risk information relating to equipment breakdown as well, and that's what we chose. And there is also help text that is going to be available to provide more context to the user should they require more information on the nature of a particular field for which data needs to be captured. These sections again are contextual. They appear dynamically based on coverages chosen in the prior screen. For example, in the prior screen, we did not select spoilage, and as a result, you're not seeing any information relating to spoilage in this particular screen. And wanted to mention once again that much like in the account screen, whenever mandatory information is not provided, appropriate message will be displayed prominently adjacent to the field for which input is solicited, so that users don't have to locate that field that has errors in them. Let's move on to the coverage page. I'm going to click on proceed. So based on risk information that we input in the risk screen, the system enforces AAIS coverage or underwriting guidelines, and only appropriate coverages are shown to the user. These guidelines are enforced based on the domicile of the customer's location. Once those coverages that are either mandated or could be optionally or that are available for optional selection are selected, then the deficiency points would be kicked in. But before I go there, if I'm going to go back to key coverages to explain how this works. All of the mandatory coverages that will be attached based on the characteristics of that risk would be highlighted in green and would be grayed out. All of the optional coverages that could be selected based on the characteristics of that risk, they are available for selection and can be so selected by clicking that button that exists prior to the coverage itself. And the way in which this particular screen is organized, we kept it the same way AAIS underwriting platform organizes this particular coverage information. So there is key coverage, which essentially lists most of the rateable coverages. Then there are coverage options. Then there are coverage supplements, coverage extensions, and marine coverages. And this is something for reasons of familiarity. We just kept the organization the same way. And then there are 3 tabs, as you can see: property coverage, income coverage, and equipment breakdown coverage. So on a per risk basis or on a per coverage basis, you can actually see all of the coverages that apply to the risk and context. And the behavior is pretty much consistent across all of these coverages, whether it be property, property, income, equipment breakdown, spoilage, any of the COP coverages, the representation is fairly consistent. Now, once you capture coverage information and click on proceed, we move to the deficiency point screen. The deficiency point screen again is contextual in nature, and it applies only if the line of business selected is COP. It is intended to provide a 360-degree view of all of the deficiencies together with the points charged by the underwriter for that deficiency on a per coverage basis. In this example, we chose 3 coverages: property, income, and equipment breakdown. Consequently, there are different types of deficiencies for different types of coverages. And the user, as you can see, that there is a type of deficiency or the description of deficiency that appears as rows, and the coverage itself appears as columns adjacent to the rows so that points can be captured. We enforce AAIS guidelines on the deficiency charge that users can assign. If, for example, an incorrect charge is assigned, the system generates an appropriate error message. As you can see that an error message is generated saying that the deficiency point, that is the maximum deficiency point allowed, is 1500. Next to each deficiency, users can also capture underwriting notes, and I'm going to expand on that. You can see here that in this particular case, we have captured a couple of notes. And once I click on submit, whenever a note has been captured, the note itself is denoted with a green icon, evidencing that there is notes that the underwriter has captured. And if there is no note captured, then it appears in gray font. Once the deficiency points are captured and the user clicks on proceed, at this point of time, our rating service kicks in. A clean image of the application is passed to rating, and premiums are actually computed. There are two tabs that you see. One is premium summary, another is premium breakup. The premium summary screen gives a snapshot view of premiums on a per coverage basis, along with key rating variables and rating elements that led to development of the premium. As you can see in the screen, for every coverage, information about the rating variables like risk class, coverage limits, deficiency points, so on and so forth, together with the rating elements like final rate, is presented to the user for review. In the screen, we present what AAIS indicative premium is. Now let's look at the premium breakdown screen. The premium breakdown screen decomposes the premium calculations more granularly by providing more contextual information about the key rating elements that drove premium development on a per coverage basis. We calculate premiums on a per coverage basis and then roll it up to the policy level. We also track all of the rating elements that resulted in computation of premiums for reasons of audit. And this can be evidenced in the rating worksheet, which can be downloaded by clicking on the rating worksheet button that we are going to show you. So you can see here that the way in which this rating worksheet is organized is you get an at-a-glance view of the premiums that have been calculated on a per coverage basis. And as you scroll down, for each one of these mean coverages, you have key information about the characteristics of that risk that led to the premiums, and there is further breakdown by coverage type. In this particular example, building and business personal property, and then for business interruption coverage, there is premium breakdown that is available as well. And as we scroll down, for equipment breakdown as well, there is premium computations that is available, and those are the 3 coverages that we chose. And for each one of those coverages, if you want to actually drill down and figure out how exactly are the premiums calculated, the calculations themselves are also made available for the user, and this is downloadable for the users to distribute. So this concludes our demonstration, and I would like to turn this around to Bob.
Okay. Thank you, Anand. And everything you've seen so far has been around the COP product. I would mention that we also are working very closely with AAIS on building out the Inland Marine Guide product and the 6 lines of coverage that are available currently on the underwriting platform. And they include builder's risk, motor truck cargo, contractor's equipment, riggers, scheduled property floater, installation floater. And we also added EDP as another coverage class that will be available. And we have a rollout schedule that we can share with you later that starts in early 2023 to introduce inland marine and all the coverage classes. Okay. Okay, we're starting to show some of the, a little bit of the quote application. Everything that we're doing is in a secure cloud hosting so that it's running on Microsoft Azure, and we ourselves are SOC 2 compliant. So we're very careful about privacy and security with everything you would be using here. We also have provided a full navigation suite of guided flows, and a quote dashboard so that you can go in and search for any quotes that you've been working on, and also provide the rating worksheets. And as part of that, much like you do today, we have the ability to be able to provide an XML that can feed down to your enterprise. Okay. Okay, some of the additional things would be features that we have would be schedule upload, location pre-fills, coverage and form selection, modifiers, standard rate modifiers, but we also have the ability, if there is need, to work with you on deviations and any specialty filing issues that you may have with your specific version of both COP and inland marine, as well as manual price adjustments and ultimately the premium calculations. Okay, we have John ready to, I think he has a few questions prepared that we wanted to address.
Yeah, I guess we've got a few questions here, and I guess we can kind of go ahead and jump right in. And first, I've got a question for you, Bob. Okay. So you guys you're already in the process of implementing this, correct? And
correct.
And terrific, and having discussions with AAIS members as well.
Yes.
Fantastic. Bob, you want to go ahead and run through the FAQs? What kind of feedback you are getting?
Oh, sure. And I guess the first is, what's the timeline for a transition? And for COP, we will have that available the first week in January of 2023. For inland marine, as I mentioned earlier, there's a rollout process for that starts, I think in February, early February, something that we'll be able to start with all the different coverage classes. By coverage class, we'll have a full rollout program. Of course, we want to be very sensitive to what are your priorities with those coverage classes as well. And I know in talking with a number of you, there are different priorities. So some people, are doing exclusively motor truck cargo. Some are having a combination of builder's risk and installation floater and so forth. So we want to be very careful to understand your particular needs and your timing issues that go along with that. The implementation itself is pretty much a ready-to-go, out-of-the-box experience. We provide you, as part of the onboarding process, with a URL, so you just click on it and up pops the experience. Now, obviously, we're going to be able to have the sign-on security and authentication if that's part of your process, and then you'll be able to go on. As part of that also, we're going to be providing you with a whole support help program that will familiarize you with the navigation, although it's pretty intuitive. And we'll have the support help desk available to help you with any questions, any problems you encounter, or any suggestions you may have, as you kind of move along. So we want to stay very attentive to what your needs are with that. Let's see, where are we going? We discussed lines of business, and with COP, it's all coverages. So right up in beginning of January, you'll have all coverages available. Just click on the link and all of the capabilities will be available to rate and quote. Let's see, how will the BizDynamics platform build on the original platform from AAIS? We've worked very closely with AAIS. We've collaborated with them to ensure that everything we're doing follows the rates, rules, and forms that are already established by AAIS. So we've been very careful there. We've built out a lot of quality assurance to ensure that when you click, that you're actually getting an experience that actually is very similar to what you're using today on the underwriting platform. How will the new solution be priced? We're using essentially the same model that AAIS currently uses, which is a base price and then a variable price based on written premium. And we'd be happy to share that with you when you contact us. And let's see here. How should I feel confident about the change? We have conducted a fair amount of collaboration with AAIS. We know that everything we're doing, follows along with our best practices based on our broad and deep industry experience. Our partnership with AAIS means that we are not only providing this today, but also supporting it as it moves forward with the ongoing updates to the various products. And everything we do is in the cloud. We have a significant amount of enterprise level cloud experience. We'll go back to the next set of questions here. There were a couple remaining questions. Here we go. What additional training, demo, and sandbox possibilities? They're all available. So we can provide, we're going to be providing additional webinars, number one, but we can provide you with a sandbox if that is something that makes you feel comfortable or something that you have as your usual practice. We also, can provide you with a lot more knowledge transfer if that's desired as well. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have deviations or specialty filings and those sorts of things, we'll work with you because all of those things are configurable within our tool sets that we build out the base AAIS products with. Back to questions. I think there was one last question. Okay. Who do I contact for more information? Well, you can contact the address on the screen, number one. You can contact me, and you'll see my email address shortly, and we'll provide you with a copy of all this. Or you can contact AAIS, and they will introduce you to us. So that's the easy way to start the whole process. I think, John, I think that just about does it. Do we have any live questions from the audience?
All right. Well, I'm glad you asked. And I'll say also to the audience, please, feel free to put any questions that you have out there. We do have a couple questions here to start out with, and the first one: how does implementation work? So what does that look like? How does somebody work with you to really build it out, get it up and running?
The initial process, obviously, is that we want to connect and do whatever diligence you require as part of your onboarding process. And then we're going to have a kind of a contractual arrangement through a purchase order to be able to begin the commercial aspects of it. And then we provide you with the initial training and a familiarization with the product and a URL that you can then click into to access the products that you wish to rate and quote. So.
Okay, terrific, terrific. So, and that's really great, because we know, you know, the AAIS product is intended to be kind of that baseline, and companies will do their own thing on top of it, and you guys are able to assist throughout that entire that entire representation of the program that the company wanted to have. That's great.
Right.
Next question. How are you handling AAIS bulletin updates? You know, we update our programs as we need to for compliance reasons, as we need to based on what's happening in the marketplace, and it's certainly not a static build it once and just let it run kind of program. So, how are you handling those updates?
As part of our partnership with AAIS, we are tracking on those updates that will come out from time to time. And as part of that also, we will be implementing and putting live the actual changes that are required to the various products and programs. That's all part of what we're doing with this project.
Yeah, so we are committed to providing updates to AAIS content in a timely manner and well before its effective date. We have processes in place to ensure that from the time of receipt of the bulletin through its initial analysis and through its implementation, customers are kept appraised. Prior to rollout of update, we conduct workshops with customers so that they are fully aware of the extent and expanse of the change. And we are happy to orient you on our SLAs and the overall process of how updates work.
That's good.
All right, terrific. I think we've got a question here. As an AAIS member, how do I take advantage of the new solution and get the process started? I guess maybe I should start that one out, since they're approaching this as the from the perspective of an AAIS member. And certainly, you know, we want to see our companies make a very successful transition off of the underwriting platform. And as I said at the beginning, you know, we built the underwriting platform at a time when there really weren't some great opportunities out there for some vendor-provided, vendor-supported products. That has changed drastically, and I think you saw in the demo a very good example of that. So, how do you take advantage of it? Well, you know, first of all, as Bob was saying a little bit ago, contact him. At the same time, feel free to contact your engagement manager here at AAIS, and we'll facilitate a conversation if you'd like to go that route. So, you know, feel free to reach out to us or directly to Bob at BizDynamics. Okay, had another question come in here. Will the original AAIS worksheet still be available? I guess that's another one coming my direction. And I'm assuming by worksheets, we're talking about the worksheets that we've got out there for doing basically for quoting. And those worksheets are not going to be supported under the new program, or rather on the new platform that we will be starting up. A new platform, I'm talking about the platform for AAIS Direct as opposed to underwriting platform. And you know, those worksheets are not a part of the underwriting platform. That is a separate item. We will not be continuing to make those available. However, again, contact your engagement manager if you would like to learn more about how we can help. Here's a question for you folks. Does the platform produce or render the forms necessary based on the quote? or does it indicate which one should be included?
Yeah, so we, based on the risk characteristics, we do enforce AAIS form attachment guidelines, and our form chooser will indicate what forms mandatorily attach, what forms are electable and could be optionally attached at the discretion of the carrier. Having said that, we don't at present do the actual printing of that forms, but we do generate all the form IDs and editions that need to attach as part of the quote transaction.
All right, fantastic, fantastic. And I am not seeing any more questions. So, I think, oh, we might have something.
One
I'm
more.
seeing one more. We got, looks like we might have something coming in here. Let's see. All right, AAIS will begin sunsetting the underwriting platform January 2023. Sounds like BizDynamics will have Inland Marine available a little bit later. Will AAIS maintain support of the underwriting platform until the new solution is fully available? That is that's a terrific question, and that is a conversation that we have had with a number of our members. If you are concerned about being able to make that transition on time, please contact your engagement manager here at AAIS, and we will work with you on that. We have done that for a number of companies. We do have some companies that will be continuing to utilize the underwriting platform for a brief period of time, just to support a successful conversion. And we're happy to help in any way that we can. So contact your engagement manager on it, and let's talk through the specifics of it. And we'd be, again, happy to help. We want to see everybody transition successfully. So thank you for that question. That was a really good one. All right, and I think we are out of questions at this point. So first of all, I want to thank everybody in attendance for joining us to learn about the BizDynamics COP and Inland Marine quoting platform. For those of you looking to review today's presentation again, they'll be available on demand on the AAIS YouTube channel in the coming weeks. We'll also send an email, follow-up email, with all speaker contact information, as well as the link to the video recording. So please feel free to contact me or one of our engagement managers, as I mentioned already, with any additional questions regarding the sunsetting of the AAIS underwriting platform, or if you'd like an introduction to our BizDynamics partners. And please enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you.